the only goodie, and I know why he's here tonight, to lead us in the flag salute, Mr. Stivalwall. You start us. Starts with I.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody to the board meeting of February 24th, 2014. Just like a reminder, if there's an emergency, we have the nearest exit, which in this case is the rear of the building. Please go to your vehicles. Please do not leave until so directed by emergency service personnel. Also, it's a non-smoking building, so if you must, you're outside the cold. Those questions.
Good evening, everybody. Just one approval tonight for the board meeting minutes of February 10th, 2014.
The motion to accept the minutes is presented.
Motion to accept.
Second. Second. Any edits, changes, deletions? All in favor? So carried. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're going to start with our bills for the period of the 12th of February through the 24th. They totaled $450,855.64. Five largest of those bills: New York State Employee Health, $113.30.28. That's our March premium. PSE&G, $36,470.08. Electricity. Holzmacher, PV New Village, $9,156. Global Moncello, diesel fuel, $8,842. It says diesel sure on the sheet, it's not what it is, diesel fuel. And Eastern Resource for garbage, $8,755.61. If I could have approval?
Just so you know, PB means paid for by New Village.
Yes.
It's not
our bid.
It's paid through us, New Village pays us.
Yes. It's not our bid.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Okay, we do have some budget transfers. They're in front of you. They're not large, it's just to move some accounts around. If I could have approval for those.
Motion to accept is presented. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, and I need approval for the general fund to loan the community development fund, $4,249.70, and that's basically payroll. We'll get that back to us.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
You have your cash balances in front of you for your information. But, Mr. Mayor, I do have one request. I would like to ask that the village board set a public hearing for the first meeting in April to breach the tax cap of 2%. We have never breached it before, since it started, but I think we need to protect ourselves just in case we need to do that. So if I could have a public hearing on that.
Motion. Motion, trustee Krieger, second.
That's it.
Yeah, because we approved the budget. We've got time to have our first budget meeting and then we'll be sometimes around.
Yeah, I do before. I'm going to be away. I'd like to be here for it.
Second.
Second.
I don't abstain from that.
Okay. I see there are a bunch of people tonight, and I'm looking at Doug in particular because I know what his business is we are pulling the Flower Tent public hearing for several reasons. First of all, some information that has come in terms of letters of concern. I understand probably, Doug, that's what you're here for. Second is we have serious concern about the legality of having a private enterprise on public land, and Mr. Egan and I have discussed that. So at this point, the Flower Tent, as it is a non-starter. Any concerns by the board about that? No. Okay. Sometimes we do listen.
Thanks for everybody's responses, though. It's
But unless, and I keep talking to you because unless you have a real interest of sitting through this tonight, when you're already here.
I pledge allegiance. No.
we're glad to hear that. There's a lot of us businesses here. I represent Fantastic Gardens, been in business for 50 years. Bad enough dealing with everybody that pops up on the roadside, and fire departments and churches having their Mother's Day and their Easter plant sales greatly impacting our business. But to have somebody there for the peak season selling New Jersey grown plants, it's wrong. It's just plain wrong.
Understood. And again, we looked at it also from the position that there's the legality piece of it, there's a fairness piece, there's a big, very big piece. The other is just, how can we allow a private enterprise to make money on public land in that fashion? It's just a whole.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got wine and cheese at 6:30.
Really? You mean you didn't bring it?
You know, I have a resolution authorizing an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Brookhaven and the village for general maintenance of specified stormwater drains. Joe, you want to go over that?
Yeah, I think there's about 18 of the drains, and that will actually be pumping in to the bay, you know, in our vicinity, obviously, so greatly to us. And it's a good deal. I think we're going to supply them with Patchogue filters, which we have at their cost. They're going to actually purchase them from us, and we store them, pay for the restoration of the filters. And so we'll just maintain those 18 water drains, which we really get burden on us. But on the financial end, it's a big plus.
It is, because they're about $100 a piece of drains. And so those 18 is $18,000 to $20,000 a year that we save. And I also almost hesitate a little bit, and even going forward with it, it's all because of the political side of it, of what the governor is now proposing. We'll probably talk about it later, with the tax cap, because it is about intermunicipal agreements. But he's also said any agreement that you have in place, they're not acceptable.
Right.
And the state will have to accept them. So we're probably going to hurt ourselves next year, because between this one and the municipal agreement with the county, which is probably $100,000, we put ourselves in a difficult situation. A motion to accept that resolution is presented.
Second.
All in favor? Request approval to amend the resolution number 9-2014 designating polling locations for the March 18, 2014 election by removing River Avenue, schools, and Village Hall as polling places. We're going to be consolidating the polling places to 2 for this year. Anyone want to go over that?
Sure. This year, we're having an uncontested election, and when we had a last uncontested election in 2010, unfortunately, there was a total of 282 voters for the entire day. So with the cost of the scanner ballot system that we get from the county, it I want to say conservatively quadrupled our election budget. So I made the recommendation that we do paper ballots this year and consolidate to the 2 firehouse locations, and that each location will, everybody south of Main Street, across the entire village, will go to Park Street, and everybody on Main and north will go to the Jennings Avenue Firehouse. I don't have the savings numbers in front of me, I can get that for the next meeting, but it should be considerable savings to the taxpayers for running the election. I felt with it being uncontested, it would be much easier to manage doing paper ballots.
You save on poll watchers as well?
Inspectors, yes.
Yeah.
Normally we have 9 election districts, so normally I have 4 election inspectors plus a chairperson for each district. Now I'm going to have a total of 18, 2 for each one. State law requires either 2 or 4 election inspectors for each district. They get paid $200 a day.
Yeah.
It's a low day, but And it's especially a long day when you're not getting many people coming in, unfortunately. We hope that it's going to be greater than that number, but
We will be sending out a card advising all residents, and that'll be, let's see, 33 or 3,500 households, every household with a registered voter, indicating that that's what's going to be there. Question, form of motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request approval to designate Jennings Avenue Firehouse polling place for District 16, 17, 23, and 103. All roads will be north, on and north of Main Street.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Request approval to designate Vanguard House, Firehouse, Park Street, excuse me, as the polling place location for March 18, 2014 election for Districts 15, 18, 19, 20, and 21. All voters living south of Main Street.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dennis.
Dennis.
Vacancy date.
Everybody. Thanks for coming, and let me just start first by, again, another example of the village listening, responding to business owners. I appreciate that you heard from the florist and reconsidering that. Yeah, it's very much appreciated. Of course, we'll talk about, again, our St. Patrick's activities are now in full swing. We did have the annual Passion to Sash yesterday. We thank the mayor for coming down and wearing green and everything.
Dave,
Oh, Pontieri for a day.
what I realized yesterday, the Irish are the only people in this world that can take a single holiday and turn it into a 5-week party.
They deserve it.
Boy, we Italians.
Well, thank you very much for helping us kick it off yesterday. It was a great time. We got to everybody to meet and introduce Patrick Moore as our new Grand Marshal for this year's parade. Also thank Trustees Crean and Trustees Keys for coming down as well and enjoying the day. We did have our annual soda bread contest. The entries were provided by Harbor Crab, Parabel, Brick House, Swan Bakery, and Public House. And after a tightly contested match, Parabel did come on top as voted as the best cornbread here in Irish soda bread, I should say, Irish soda bread here in Patchogue. So,
David, just because I'm Scottish, I think you should recognize that I was there as well.
I apologize. You were. He got called. Not only was there, he got called to duty at the town of Brookhaven and came back afterwards as well. So I apologize
Yeah,
for
but
that.
then you have chicken parmesan for dinner.
I did notice that too, but that one was, and he ate it with a fork too, right?
And I stuffed my pockets with soda bread.
They were cut small cubes for that purpose, actually, so to bring some home. Of course, our parade will follow on March the 30th. It'll kick off at 12:30, starting with the annual running of the Maiden Road Rise to Meet E5K. And I do, runners out there, please, now's the time to sign up. We've even got a system now that's set up that you can do all the registration online and be set up through our online service as well. So it's always one of the most popular races we have in town, so please join us for that. Tomorrow is our monthly general membership meeting at the Patchogue Medford Library at 6 o'clock in the meeting room on the second floor. One of our members is a CPA. His name is Robert Sick, and he's going to do a presentation on financial literacy for the business owner. With tax season upon us, it's a good, definitely very timely. And he's going to just talk about reading between the lines of some of those financial reports, or using your QuickBooks technology. A lot of people don't, other than balancing the books, there's a lot of good technology on there that you could use to help you kind of interpret some of the data that you get from it. So that should be a great meeting. And next month, our County Executive, Steve Malone, is going to join us as our guest speaker at the March 25th meeting, kind of talk about some of Suffolk County's new initiatives for small businesses. And hopefully we want to set some time too for Jack, if that's still up to you. I know with the sandwich board, we wanted to kind of get a more last chance for business owners to discuss that
When
issue.
Lori comes back.
Yeah, exactly. I know we'll set up that meeting as well.
Where's the below meeting going to be held?
It's at the Patchogue Library as well. It'll be our monthly meeting, 6 o'clock. I'll certainly make sure you're all aware and invited. We definitely appreciate you coming down. And the last thing just to talk about, April the 23rd. So Wednesday is the next annual beautification dinner, luncheon and dinner at the Harbor Crab. You should be getting invitations of being prepared as we speak, and we'll be going out very shortly. That's always one of our most popular events of the year. I don't know if I know it's up at the Trustees screen. I can come back at the appropriate time, or if you wanted to deal with any of those date requests while I'm here, or while I'm up.
Sounds good. So yeah, we had, going away at last meeting, we started a discussion about this, and we figured it would just be better if we had this while you and Billy were in the room. And just wanted to finalize some dates and times for some of these events. And the first one is the Family Fun Night, which we'll look to only have on the east side of South Ocean Avenue, North Ocean Avenue intersection. So look for a road closure between Ocean and Maple Avenue for Friday, July 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. And that's for the Family Fun Night. So
Motion.
that's in form of a motion.
Second.
Right, yeah, the rain date is for
22nd.
25th, Friday, July 25th.
Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the alignment at the 5 is, we had a discussion, and just a little too concerned, I'm concerned about the extension of the time to 10 p.m. So I'd look to make a motion with the dates for July 17th, 31st, 14th, August 14th, and August 28th, with a rain date of September 4th. And that's for the Alive After 5 for road closures starting at 4 o'clock. Yeah, we're just a little too concerned about having those hours extended to 10 o'clock. We've done that, and it just becomes problematic with.
Well, the police were involved in the discussion that allowed this, and we, Sergeant Heller was at the meeting that thought that was acceptable. He was more concerned about the movement to Friday, because if you recall at the time, we were looking at Thursday, July the 3rd, which is kind of like a Friday, and the second Friday was, requested from the committee to do that. We suspended the Friday to the restaurants, if they weren't, they couldn't at least get a Friday in, and they were hoping to at least get the hour extended. We did have a lengthy discussion about it at that meeting. Certainly that doesn't mean that the meeting was accepted, but we did have police support for that. So, I don't know whether, I know the mayor and Trustee Hilton were there as well, and, I think when we left the meeting, there was understanding that was gonna be okay. And I just, when you vote for, I just know it could lead to some of the restaurants coming down here a little upset.
Well, there's two extensions you're looking for. You're looking for music from not stopping at 9 o'clock, continuing to 10. And you're looking for the road closure to 11.
Right.
And myself, Jerry, and a few other folks would rather it stay where it is, 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
I just know a couple of them have already expressed to me that was gonna be a big problem, and I just know, you gotta approve, but I know this will lead to some of them coming probably at a future board meeting because they felt like there was an understanding that was gonna be okay. And I feel, at least talking to a couple of them today, just to let them know that was still a question, they just felt that it was something they thought was gonna be okay. And I just know it will add a little bit of angst to them when they get the notification of the approval.
So it was okay with the Suffolk Police.
Right. But, you guys were also present at the meeting, and I think certainly our general understanding when we left the meeting, that you guys were also okay or on board with that.
That was the meeting at the chamber?
At the chamber office. That's when this whole proposal came up.
Right.
And I think it was even, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I thought it was, one of you two individuals that We said 10, but we said it would be 9:45 is when the music is enforced to be shut down, and 9:30 is when the actual drinking would be forced to be stopped, or the serving would stop at 9:30. And then, and that was the compromise that you got, and like, I think Eric from Bogack was the one who responded, well, 9:30 is really what we wanted anyway. So we really was just extended a half an hour. I think the 10 o'clock time is just more of a, gives you that buffer zone to clear everybody out.
David, what's the reason for it?
They feel that with the Thursday nights, they're getting later, people showing up later. That they don't show up until like after 7, almost 8 o'clock before things are actually starting for them, and then an hour later they're shutting down, like the 5 o'clock. Because with that one thing that is also added on this is that the pens will not open until 6 o'clock. So it's like, for them, it's like we're only shifting the hour. The only reason why we are still want to start at 5 is that for the street vendors that come, they, going to 10 o'clock means nothing to them, it's too dark. They don't need to go from 9 to 10 o'clock. So I didn't want them to get cut out of their selling hour, because from 5 to 6 for them, it's still a good time for them to sell. It's not a good time for the bars. The pens aren't even going to be open until 6 o'clock. So it's not extending it, it's shifting it more in line with what they feel is more conducive hours for the business that they're generating.
So when are they gonna stop serving alcohol?
9:30.
So they're getting an extra half an hour if we say yes to this.
Well, actually they're losing half an hour because you're not starting them until 6. The drinking's starting to 5. It was going from 5 to 9. Now we're asking 6 to 9:30.
But, so they're not interested in the hour from 5 to 6?
No,
Because they don't make any money during that time anyway.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, if that was what the village said, look, if the whole thing doesn't start till 6, that's fine. Then it's the vendors that get a little upset. I guess from the chamber perspective, we're more, the restaurants are our actual members. The vendors are people coming from the outside. We're obviously going to, in that weighted scale of who gets more weight, obviously the members of the chamber get more weight in that.
Is it the restaurants or the bars?
I mean, it's like most of them are bar restaurants. They're all, like
But it's
houses.
really the bar business that we're.
Exactly. It's the pen, like, and I did witness that. Certainly, they didn't really full until like after 7. Usually from 5 to 6 on a Thursday, not many people were coming down. So it was a way, I guess, they prefer us to keep it at Fridays, obviously. If we had their choice, they prefer that we keep it Friday. That's not gonna happen. So I guess the time extension or the time shifting is really how I really was approaching this, is more of a way that, all right, you didn't get your Fridays, but we're giving you a little something back.
Last year, we, I think, very successfully moved the Live After 5 from Friday to Thursday.
Mhm.
Because we wanted it to be less of a drinking, less of a music, and more of a family-oriented event. And I believe it was very successful for the village, maybe not so much for the bars and restaurants. And we were very happy with that. And now we're back to not only an agreed hour that you and the mayor and the police department did 9:30, extending the music, which is the weekday cutoff, is 9 o'clock. One thing that I'm very concerned about is if we give you that, then we have to give everybody that. I live on the river, and they're gonna adopt that tomorrow.
Well, again, we're not asking for that for the riverfront, and that's a good question, because
You
it was
can't
asking
do
that.
one and not for the other.
Well, they got music going. I mean, that's a law. That's a law that says they have to have music off by the same time. So, I mean, they have to live by that law. I don't think that law exists on Main Street. Am I wrong? Maybe when you pass this, you're...
Live amplified music and public.
All right, so the music is on Thursday nights, 9 o'clock is the cutoff time?
Yeah.
And it should, all right, well, but I guess what I guess I'm confronted with is the business people who were at the meeting where you guys were at, that point wasn't brought up at that time, or that discussion kind of wasn't discussed.
There was an underlying tone to them being excited that if, these were the river guys,
Mhm.
that if we extended the time uptown from 9 o'clock to 9:30, that they were gonna do the same. So we now know that we pretty much have to stick the music to 9.
All right, I mean,
So what this has come down to is drinking again.
my job is just to pass the message.
If you're a restaurant bar, That's the business you're in.
Right,
So it's not about we want to get people drunk. They have a business.
right.
And the business is based upon a certain amount of money that you make and time that you put in. What the discussion should really be about, in my mind, is that if you take an hour away at the front end, you only add a half hour at the back end, is that going to make a huge difference to what happens? Is it a benefit to the program itself to make the live after 5 stronger, or does it weaken it? The fact that the music goes to 9:45, is that an issue? Because we all the time, whether it's a block party, whether it's down at the Fireman's Park, we give those approvals for music to go to the late hour. This is an event. This event, and these events, the nature of their application is to go to a certain time. It has nothing to do with, we buy, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Council, we buy our motion of approving a live after 5 to whatever degree we do, whether it's 9:30 or 11 o'clock at night, or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The mere fact that we approve the event based upon the parameters within that, then breaches that local law. So for anybody to think that the breaching of the local law by approving a live after 5 has anything to do with music playing after 9 o'clock, any other time during the course of the week.
Right, I understand that point. My point that I was going to make is that the intention of Live After 5 is to try and attract people into the downtown in the evening hour, and in the early stages of this, it's very beneficial, it had a very positive effect on starting the creation of a nightlife in our village. And we're at the stage right now that there's enough nightlife in the village without the Live After 5 at all. But if we ended at 9 o'clock, I would be shocked to think that all of those people would all of a sudden decide to leave the village altogether. There'd still be customers on Main Street that would be shifted from our public roadway into these establishments that are helping fund this event. So whether it ends at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 o'clock, I don't think those customers or those visitors to our village are going to decide that as soon as the event is over, they're going to leave. But I think it would allow the people that are underage, right? That's one of the issues that we've had also, is that there are people in the back lots, there's people, there's a security issue not only on the roadway, but in all of our municipal lots, there's a nuisance to some degree, where there's underage people that are coming uptown, getting all lit up, and then creating a problem. People getting knifed, people getting fist fights. We've had these events occur in the later hours of these events. So, in the interest of public safety, I would be more inclined to keep it at 9 o'clock. If the other board members are in disagreement, that's fine. I'll go with it, whatever they want to do, but that's my own opinion. So, if we end at 9 o'clock, I think people would still benefit from all of these people coming into our downtown and seeing what we have to offer.
I'll certainly I'll certainly give a very good explanation, Trustee Green, and Trustee Hilton, you make excellent points as well. I'll certainly pass that along of the reasoning if that's what the ultimate outcome is. As the executive director, I don't really tell the chamber or tell the members. They kind of direct me of what they would like me to stand up for, and that's what I'm here for. As I said last time, last year we were very happy with the Live After 5. For us in the chamber, it was a huge success. Everybody had a great time, and if everything ran exactly like that again, minus those threats of rain a couple of times, I'd be perfectly happy. These are things that, as we were creating this year's program, the different, and certainly the bar restaurants are certainly, because they provide the music as well. They're the ones who sponsor the bands. Where each stage is where the band comes from, the different bar restaurants that are sponsoring it. So they are kind of, for lack of a better term, the juice, the energy of a Live After 5 has been traditionally those locations. So they've kind of traditionally been the ones that have been the driving force. behind the creation and the maintenance of Live After 5. So certainly it's their message that I'm, just passing along. So I will certainly express, I think you made some very rational points and good points. And certainly, from the village perspective, I could see if it ain't broke, why fix it? Certainly, because it worked really well last year. But, I did have to make that request, and, I will certainly reason with the bar and restaurants owner, and hopefully they'll accept this. We're only talking about at the end of the day, we're talking a half an hour when it comes down to. So either way, whatever side, which way it goes, I think either side should be able to, live with it, I guess is what I'm saying. So I leave it to the discretion of the board.
Well, let me ask you another question, this is a modification, more to the board. Do we, obviously alcohol ends at 9, bands go to 9:30. This was all that on the table. Or is it just-
So the road would start getting closed at 9:30.
Yeah.
Open.
Closed at 9:30. You said the bands would end at 9:30.
The roads are open at 9:30.
So then we start to open the roads at
Right.
9:30.
I see, definitely the music's off at 9. Let them serve till 9:30 if they go inside.
Oh, well, yeah, it's
I
on.
think it's a question, every hour of this event costs the village money, right? Code enforcement's on, it costs the Suffolk County Police money. I mean, it costs money to keep this open. And I don't know how much it costs, but, starting to clean the town out at 9 o'clock, we're still closing the roads, opening the roads. An hour later, right? We give an hour for the people to disperse. And then it's back to quiet, normal 10 o'clock at night, right? Quiet, normal 10
Not the
o'clock.
quiet,
No, in the past it's been, if it's over 9 o'clock, the roads are open shortly after 9 o'clock.
Well, 10, 10 o'clock is what we've been saying that the roads would open by. They want the hour buffer to clear everybody off. I would say last year, they were definitely by 9:45 ready for it. Suffolk County wanted to ask for that hour.
Street does that.
That's what they feel is reasonable. Maybe if I asked it, well, certainly Live After 5 on Fridays, you needed that hour to get everybody off the street. Last year, maybe it wasn't as intense to get people off the street, so maybe a half an hour buffer would be, but I want the precinct to tell me what they feel is sufficient enough to get the streets open and we can get the cars going.
I would be hard pressed to deny any other establishment in the village, they're not having music till 9:30 if we allow this event to do the same, if not just those same nights. So now we've extended the music throughout the village on Thursday night four times a year on a Thursday night. I just think I'm more concerned about the music than I am about the serving of alcohol.
It's a fair point, and I certainly can't argue that point.
I don't wanna count votes, but I hear 3 no's. I hear you as a no, I hear me as a no, and I hear Jerry as a no, with regard to moving this extra hour.
Well, it all depends on how we make the motion.
I understand that, but the way it's written now, I hear 3 no's.
And
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we host the event, with it ending at 9 o'clock, that's the,
Follow the traditional hours.
traditional hours.
Proper hours.
Just, close the road at 4 and, look to reopen the road by 10. Start winding down the event at 9 o'clock and letting those people, enjoy the rest of their evening off of the roadway,
David, could I make maybe a small suggestion?
Sure.
As a compromise, maybe have the bar restaurants do I don't want to call it a happy hour, but like some kind of a special between 5 and 6. If they feel that that's an hour that they're not getting customers, advertise it that,
Well, just as a motion,
right, so I was just
No,
People
that's
were modified
a
to be
good
a
point,
second,
Patty.
so that's gonna be.
Correct.
The only thing
Well,
is
not
that
modifying, stay.
Oh,
Stay.
oh,
the motion is not what the applicant
correct.
has asked.
No, yeah, you should.
You can make, I made a request, you're making the legislation, motion.
So there's a
So the
motion,
dates are the dates, so, you know, on Thursday evenings, you know, with the one rain day of September 4th. And we're looking to have the road closure from, you know, from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then have the roads reopened by 10 in the evening. You know, the event ending at 9 o'clock.
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
David, if you want to speak to anybody that's...
Well, you know what, actually tomorrow, Lori's actually speaking, and we do have this restaurant committee. They're meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the Harbor Crab. It does unfortunately conflict this one with our membership meeting, which they won't do in the future, they promised me. But it is at 6 o'clock, which I'm at the membership meeting, I can't really be at the restaurant committee meeting. I know Lori was going there because she has a request, she's putting the Taste of Patchogue night together with them. So sure, I encourage you, please, to go down there and make the same suggestions and reasons. And you know, any reasonable person I would hope would hear you out and understand.
Next request is for Oldies Night for Friday, August 8th from 6 to 9, road closure from 5 to 10.
This is also sidewalk sales, right?
Yeah. And again, this is just the eastern part of Main Street.
So that's in the form of a motion.
This is just on the east.
Right, we followed them, and that again was another, suggestion that came, so we didn't close Main Street fully as many times as we have. So we
Second.
Okay.
And then these are some events that were talked about, but we've never nailed down the dates. But tonight, what we're looking to do is...
Can I, just today, I got a call from Brookhaven Memorial Hospital. We've traditionally always had our St. Liberata the same day as their family fun day at the hospital, which has been a problem. So I really want to avoid that, and that's why we moved it up a week earlier, one of the reasons why, to September 20th, but the hospital let me know today that they haven't finalized if they're going to do theirs on the 20th or the 27th yet.
You want to just wait on?
Yeah, so I promised the hospital we wouldn't have that conflict this year, so as soon as I know when the hospital's doing their family fun day, then, we're going to do the opposite Saturday for St. Liberata.
Why don't you look at the Performers Almanac to see which day it's not?
You're probably right, But the hospital has told me, I guess, it's been something that's always happened that they've been annoyed at for many years now, and I did make that I would make every effort that we would avoid that this year.
Okay, so we'll wait on that date. That'd be great. Looking to host the second annual Patchogue Fall Festival with a date of October 18th and a rain date of October 25th. This is a daytime event with the street closure from Maple to West from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, Lori, is that for the full stretch from Maple to West, right? Okay. And that's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
And then we had a brief meeting, I guess it lasted about an hour or so, a couple of weeks ago regarding the Midnight on Main Street celebration for December 31st. We had a discussion, a couple of months ago, and then put it off that just couldn't get all logistics in place. But what we've started the planning process for 2014's New Year's Eve celebration. So I'd just like to reserve the date and looking to close the street. Obviously, there'll be continuing meetings with public safety and the chamber members, as well as the restaurateurs to get their participation. So just in the form of motion, reserve the date and the street closure for December 31st. And haven't finalized the time yet, but probably somewhere around 10 to 12:30 for the
would that be a full close or a half close?
It'll all depend upon the location, Bill. We're talking, obviously, we go for the North Ocean, South Ocean, for it to be located right at the four corners.
Right.
And if that's the case, then it would be from Maple to West. But if that is not acceptable to the fire department, we may look to just move it to down by either the Capital One Plaza, like we initially talked or briefly talked about last year.
Right.
So that's yet to be decided or determined. But right now, I'd like to have it for a full closure, and then we can always modify it based upon the wishes of the fire department and public safety.
Right, because at the meeting that we were talking about, there was the River Restaurants and South End Restaurant were well represented, and had voiced their regrets that their business were seriously hurt when we closed, when we had a full close.
We did, and I should introduce Jerry is actually serving as our chairperson of this event, and we appreciate his efforts on that, so that's why he can give you more answers than I can on it. But I know we did bring this one up. These later ones, the Fall Festival and this wasn't as much of a concern because they're quieter at that point. So I mean, they were aware. It was the street closures they were more concerned about with the summer ones. And that's one of the reasons why we definitely Oldies Night and all that has been condensed a little bit more. So South Ocean Avenue will remain open as an access as well. My understanding is that they're not going, they don't have an issue with the street closure on Main Street. But I think Jerry brings up a good point. Street closures right now, they might be premature because, again, we haven't really put together a full-scale plan. Really, we only had general discussion of ideas. So it might, reserve the date is great, but talking about street closures might
Well,
be
it
premature.
was, just that it's New Year's Eve.
You're right.
So.
True. But I know this was brought to them, and at least from Mark Miller, who's kind of representing the Riverfront Committee this year. The Film Festival and the Main Street, the Midnight Main, were two that he said he wasn't more concerned about. It was more the summer ones that he wanted South Ocean Avenue open.
I just think there's a tremendous amount of discussion as to go on as to what will happen, how it will be done, how it will be formulated. The length of time, is it a 2-hour closing or 1 hour?
Right, a lot of planning still in the, we're in the infancy still, but, we've had a great collaboration of ideas, and it's just, as it becomes more solidified, we'll put the request in a more formal manner, but we just wanted to, I guess, just throw it out there as a topic of discussion and look to, just reserve the date, I guess, it's a great event that could help promote the village, so.
Yeah, actually, we're following a model to Kingston, New York, did one. Obviously Keegan Ailes was very involved with it, and Tom Keegan has shown me some of the video, and there is some video footage. If you do like Google New Year's Eve celebration Kingston, you'll see pictures and some video come up, and we're kind of using that as something to build off of, because they seem like they ran a very successful event at that time. So if you get a chance, check it out. And any thoughts certainly about it, please send my way, send Jerry's way.
Motion to hold that date?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Unless somebody else got anything else for me, I'm good.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Deputy Mayor Krieger.
Jerry?
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that's okay.
it should come back around on the back side.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just very brief tonight. Want to congratulate the theater on a very successful show on Saturday night. The one and only Ronan Tynan was there and put on a great show, and of course went on very late. He did not stop when he was supposed to stop, and he kept the crowd there for I would say at least another half hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what it normally did, but yeah, this is
Yeah, it was supposed to end at 10.
Oh, it's well past.
Yeah, well past 10. So we thank Ronan once again for putting on a great show at the theater, a terrific crowd. From what I understand, a lot of people got there a little earlier, had dinner in the village, and once again, the theater had a good crowd. So thanks to Ronan, thanks to the theater. I'd just like to talk about parking a little bit. David, just want to let you know that we've had some concerns by a few of the businesses that, about enforcing the 30-minute spaces in the parking lots. So we will be strictly enforcing 30-minute parking in the parking lots. So if anybody asks, if people start getting tickets, just advise that we're working on that to make sure that people follow the rules there. Also, Trustee Keys and I did a inventory of the signs on the streets, and I guess in the next week or so, they should be all taken care of.
Yeah, weather stopped us a lot.
Yeah, weather has stopped us from changing signs. Some of the signs need to be changed or moved. Actually, I think we're taking down some signs, so so a little less sign pollution. But once Trustee Keys gives me the word that all the signs are correct, then our enforcement officers will be out there strictly enforcing our village codes for parking. Sandwich boards, again, another thing. The last meeting we had, there was quite a discussion on that. We do have a code on the book, correct, Attorney Egan? Can you just briefly read what that code is? Sorry to just drop this on you.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you. This is like a test to see,
I'll go to our indexes.
Yeah, we'll just go to that,
Yeah,
Brian.
Usually I can just put it right up, I figure right out.
That's up to the next.
Yeah, which of course we don't have on our code.
Well, I understand that the code allows for one sandwich board
Correct,
per business.
correct.
We will be enforcing that. Okay. And whatever, I mean, the size it's not really specified in the code what size it is, but, we do want to.
A-frame signs?
No, they describe, the signs are described as A-frame signs, but they don't,
It's
right,
of reasonable size.
correct, reasonable size, but the limitation is one per business.
Right, one per business. So,
Was there a location specification on there as well, or no?
No.
Is there anything about obstructions of sidewalks or anything within the code, do you know?
It does say they can't obstruct the sidewalk.
yes. I'm sorry, Brian. I should have let you know.
This is the hidden section, this is the one that I normally.
Plus, you got the TV cameras.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
okay.
Mom, I'm usually better than this.
The one thing that you really don't like to do to somebody when they're sitting up on this board is to blindside them with a request that they're not prepared for. So, I'm sorry, Brian.
You know everybody's topics.
It's quite for commercial.
Right. I'll find it. I
Okay.
will get it,
All
okay.
right, eventually.
I will eventually get it.
But please, if there's any questions, David, I think there might have been a misrepresentation at the last meeting that there is no code for sandwich boards. There is a code for sandwich boards.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding certainly, so I appreciate the
So,
correction.
And the big one is two. There's, you can't have two sandwich boards advertising the same business. And I believe there is something in the code about obstructing passageway on the sidewalk. And I guess last week or a week before, I did see a sandwich board that absolutely was in the middle of the sidewalk. And there was snow on the side, and you could not get around it. Specifically, if you were handicapped or in a wheelchair or something like that, you wouldn't be able to get around it. So that's what I just want to let you know, that we are going to be enforcing the code for sandwich board. And I believe that's still open, right?
Yes.
The public hearing.
April 1st.
April. Right. That's all I have. Sorry.
Trustee Keys.
Mr. Mayor, fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen, EPW report. in this little brief respite we're getting from the weather and the snow and ice and all that, we're trying to get a jump on pothole repairs. I know many concerned, and there's certainly many out there, and we're not alone. I mean, everywhere you go now, that's a big issue with everybody. I'd like to read into the record a press release, which Linda, I'll give to you afterwards. The Village of Patchogue wants to let all residents know that we are fully aware of the widespread potholes and recognize the challenges faced by motorists and pedestrians. Unfortunately, until this week, the weather and temperatures have made it impossible for us to begin repairs. Even now, with the asphalt plants closed, we must use a temporary cold patch until hot mix is available and permanent repairs can be made. While the crews will be on the streets every day the weather allows, filling potholes, please understand that we will be addressing the crisis in the worst first priority. This means that there's a real probability that not all of the potholes in any given area will be repaired at once. We're going to repair those that pose a serious threat to health and safety or can lead to catastrophic and expensive failures of the roadway. In order to better respond to concerns, we suggest that you email your pothole complaints to potholes@patchoguevillage.org. Please be patient and bear with us. We understand the scope of the problem and will be dedicating every available asset to repair the streets as quickly as possible. Paul Pioneer Mayor, Trustee Joseph Keys, Commissioner of DPW. There is one plant still open, it's up in Farmingdale, that still has the hot patch. However, everybody in the world on that. We're not the only municipality situation, obviously, so we are trying to do our best. What it means, if you have 7 or 8 potholes in your street, we're going to get the worst one and then go to somebody else's street to their worst one. If you see a crew come and do one and leave, don't think we forgot about you, we're just trying to get the worst first.
One of the things with that, just so you know, in the springtime, as soon as the plant's open, the first stretch we're going to do is South Ocean Avenue from Track South. We paved the whole road. I think, David, you guys had done it in 98, I guess it was.
Probably last
It was about 15 years on that road, but it's just peeling up. So that is going to get done. So if you don't see us doing patchwork on it, we're not doing patchwork unless it's very deep. And the dangerous one, because we're going to be doing the whole road itself. And we have to do some bonding and we're going to do some borrowing to get it done. Because there's those, there are a number of other roads that are just really begun to come apart. And we have to do it with 2%.
If there's an upside to South Ocean, which there isn't, because it is a mess. I mean, it's blacktop on a concrete base, so the holes can only get so deep before you hit concrete. There are some roads where you're going to bury your car, like that poor lady in Huntington, right in the driveway. See the lady in Huntington, one in the sinkhole in the driveway? Anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen here. But we are certainly aware, and don't be bashful. Keep sending us your complaints. I don't normally have to urge anybody to complain. They find it come natural most of the time. But don't be bashful about sending the potholes at patchoguevillage.org and making us aware. In the meantime, we do have teams going out and trying to stay on top of those as well.
Is that email address active now? It is?
I am looking, I got things in place here. Tell you, this is not on your agenda. Last year we went out to bid for machine shop services. We did it on a 1-year term, which is now expired, obviously. So what I'd like to do now is request the people to go out to bid for machine shop services, but only on a 3-year term. I don't know, Brian, you have any, Brian's kind of buried in that sandwich board right now.
Oh, you're accurate.
Wording on the bid as well. You're in the process of preparing the bid, correct, Brian?
Correct.
So I'm just requesting the tools now to go out to bid to get the best price we can on machine shop services on a 3-year term. And I can't tell you how much, I really don't know how often we've used them this year, so in case anybody's thinking that, I don't have an answer for it.
No, it's become a very big asset to the highway department in terms of repairing the heavy equipment. Instead of purchasing new parts, there's a gentleman here in town, I don't know the name of his company, but has done some tremendously good work for us. Hopefully they win the bid again. Well, that's a motion.
That's a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, and just one more thing, Mr. Mayor, my stormwater report, I'm about to offer probably the second biggest bargain I've ever offered since I've been on the board here. And I offer it every year, but I just wanted to know, we have, for $29.95, you get 50 pounds of organic fertilizer, which price-wise is a bargain, and obviously for what it will do for our environment is a big plus as well. Just call Village Hall, make your request. we'll call you when it's in, and I think you pick it up at DPW for $29.95 for 50 pounds of organic fertilizer. You have to think green and think clean, try to stay away from the chemical stuff and do the right to Mother Earth.
How does that come?
You know,
It's a 50-pound,
50-pound pellet bag like that. I have the information here from us.
it's just one bag?
Yeah, I believe it's one bag. I don't know what it is. I think it's one bag, yes.
Yeah, it's heavy.
I'm requesting approval for payment of $8,986.50 to J.R. Holtzmacher for engineering fees for the Laurel Street bulkhead repair. That's a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Alright.
Is that where the car went over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The engineering
It was a
was,
stolen Jaguar.
the engineering was more than the repairs.
And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
I have nothing else, Mr. Mayor. Nothing further for this meeting.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Burke.
I have nothing tonight.
Trustee Devlin. Moving on.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, guests, I'd like to request approval for the River Avenue School PTA to hold an annual 5K run on Sunday, May 4th, beginning at 8 o'clock. I've been in discussion with Dina Underwood, who's the race coordinator, to move this race to our new 5K course on the south end. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it, she wasn't able to make it happen for this year, but next year we will be able to get it off of River Avenue and have less of an impact on the west and west side, and also the River and Cedar Avenue side. And I'd just like to amend her application where she says west on Laurel, it's east on Laurel, and where she says west on Maiden, it's east on Maiden. That's a motion.
Thank God you did that, boys. I was out there running.
You could just,
I would have myself
you
so
would think,
lost.
you would think you just would have been running around, sir?
I'd still be walking back. Just strolling along.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I'm just very excited, we're working on our budget, new budget for the Parks Department, and it's just as reasonable as it was last year.
2%.
Well, you know,
Less than that, yeah.
one thing I would like to say, you know, we're starting to get into the 5K run thing, and Trustee Hilton and our Parks and Rec Director, Maria,
Just needs, yeah.
for sure. And these are very difficult things to put together, they're very time consuming, and there's a lot of, so Billy, I appreciate the time that you put into it. It is tremendously difficult. And it's something that I would never want to do. I would never do it.
You've been through
Yes.
got pictures.
You know, I'm sure I'm gonna be doing it long past the time on the trustees, so
Right.
nobody else wants to do it.
Anything else from the board?
Thank you for that, I'm done, thank you.
That's your section.
Very good.
I'm still interested in that. It's Article 7 of the zoning section 435-43 4F. The existing language is as quoted by the deputy mayor. Signboards, sandwich boards must be reasonable in size, shape, and design. The boards shall not obstruct the reasonable use of the sidewalk or egress from parked vehicles, and must be removed and brought in at the nightly closing of the business. Displays shall be limited to one board per establishment. And I found one after a snowbank actually evaporated over the weekend on the ground on Main Street.
Yeah, the other thing I didn't mention, you mentioned here, was that they have to be taken in at night. And there are some businesses that do not take theirs in at night.
Especially if they're chained to a site.
Yeah, and one is actually chained to one of our poles, which is, I would say, in violation of the code.
That is.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Do you want to put a tab on that?
Public can be heard.
several questions, but I just want to make a comment about the Alive After 5 debate. I have 7 grandchildren, 4 of whom are adults. I listen to them and their friends. They're very clear. They want to come to Patchogue, and they're very clear they come to get drunk. So by all means, go to 10, because we got to keep those kids bombed. Okay, I have several questions, and I'll try to be brief. The sewer repairs, the $800,000, is that
These
going?
pump station
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
pump
and everything?
station. Is that going to be paid for by those who live in the sewer district and those who are out of the sewer district but hooked up, or will it be paid by all taxpayers?
No, it only gets paid by the sewer district itself, no more. Number 2, we have in our reserves, in our sewer reserves, the amount to pay most of this now. So it will not affect the tax rate on the sewer district, and will not obviously affect the resident taxpayer.
So this is going to be done without any taxpayer input?
Not resident taxpayer, there may be, if there's overruns, because we've been reserving money for major repairs. You know, over the years, whether it was Bay Village or the Riverview, all of these apartment and condo projects put what's called key money. Key money is $30 a gallon. Example, Bay Village would have been, what were they, $9,000 a unit. They paid about $540,000 worth of key money for the right to hook up into a sewer. That money then is put aside for projects such as this, repairs such as this. So in terms of you as a resident, it will not affect you by anything.
So there won't be bans or bonds?
We have to see where we're at this point in time. If those bans or bonds are taken, those bans or bonds are taken and paid for by the sewer district. And that's by state law. You cannot intermingle your costs for non and for users. Sewer district pays for that.
So if there is some cost to the residents, it will be those of us who are in the sewer district?
Yeah, but the thing about it is your cost, because you're not hooked to the sewer, it's just a flat rate.
It's
Yeah, and
negligible, I
flat-
understand that.
Yeah, that
But
flat
what's
rate will
really
not change.
asking about, and as long as we're talking about these sewers, there was at one point some talk about financing for residents to hook up, and that they could pay back over a period of 10 years, and is that?
Yes, that's being actively looked at, because part of what we're doing right now also is, you know, we have the project that's going on down at Indian River Avenue, where we had gotten money from the county for those hookups themselves. And part of that's going to be is, how do we fund and finance that? And it's an active discussion right now as to how we do that. Because I think that, especially people like yourself that are along the river, you know, you have to look at that, and I'm telling you, you put a whole new system, and so there's not the value to it, but for others there is the value. But what I'm looking to do is to come up with a cost that's not greater than what would be the average amount that someone would pump in a year. You know, the average household. Keeping it reasonable where there's a value to do it.
I have some questions for Trustee Krieger about the parking.
Yes.
Do we actually have a figure now for the cost, the total, buying the meters, installing the whole thing? Do we have a figure?
Let's see, I don't have it on paper, but.
Just roughly.
We don't have it on paper.
I can get that for you.
Yeah, we can get it for you. But each machine costs, what, about 10,000?
About 6,400 a month,
About 6.
our lease on it, I believe it's a 10-year lease. But I don't have the numbers.
It's a 5-year.
5 years.
5 years, but I don't have the numbers
We
on.
did 5 years because in 5 years we feel it'd be obsolete, we go back to it.
Yeah, but I don't have the numbers on signage and, you know, painting the, I don't.
Yeah, the setup charge to
Well, we can
get
get
it
that.
started is, you know, with signs and
Yeah.
paving and all
So
that.
so do you have a total number, or because I heard you saying a monthly?
The lease on the actual meters is about 6,400 a month.
5
And that
years.
includes, that's buying meters,
That's leasing.
or
the
renting the
meters.
meters, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
And the installation,
There's a separate amount.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but so I was really asking if you could get me the total.
Meters are installed by
Yeah.
the meter company as part of the cost.
Right.
We're not spending
The setup for
more
the,
money to install them.
if there's any concrete work that needs, whatever, that we did ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. How long, do you have some idea, an estimate of how long before the meters are paid off? I know the money is coming, I know the meter revenue, parking revenue will go into one fund, and anything else will go in the general fund. Do you have some idea about how long it will take us to pay that off?
Well,
It's a lease
Yeah,
on
it's a
it.
lease.
You know,
I
it's
think
leased purposely.
we're pretty much covering the lease right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even with the snow, I mean, we're probably bringing in 7,000 a month. So we're covering that 6,400.
so
But
we,
we're gonna do much better than that.
But we're bringing a little over about almost 9,000 a
Yeah.
month now.
Once the weather gets better, and that's not including any parking tickets, that's just the fees.
Went to the box.
And it's just Main Street, it's not in the parking lots yet, so.
Our numbers, you know, whatever estimates we made, I believe were pretty accurate. I think we said we could probably pick up 200,000 to 300,000 a year in revenue, you know.
at the last meeting, when we talked about the sewer, and then we talked about the parking, we talked about vans and bonds. A loan by any other name is a loan.
Right.
So we're borrowing money here
For,
The roof.
right.
for the
Or-
roof, for the theater roof,
The theater roof
and for
and
the
the
sewer upgrade.
The sewers was a $800,000 ban, which we might bond going out.
And we might pay straight down out of.
But what Paul is saying is, there's enough money in key money on an annual basis to pay that ban down. Or if it's bonded, there's enough money on an annual basis to pay that bond.
But what you can't do is you can't bond or ban something after you've done it.
Right.
So what you do is you, in preparation, and then if you need 800,000, you need 100,000, but you must financially position yourself to be able to do the job when you want to start the job. And that's why a lot of times you'll hear us say, we're gonna bond $2 million, but we'll end up with $1 million, $1.5 million of work. But you wanna position yourself so you can do the job properly.
So, Josephine, if I may, what we did by voting ourselves the authority to do a ban or a bond, it's like, do we want to put this thing on a credit card? What's the interest rate on the credit card? Is it favorable and advantageous for us to do that? Should we pay cash for it? How should we pay for it? It just gives the village the flexibility to pay for it by a variety of devices. And we'll do the one that's best for the village, whatever has the lowest interest rate or the lowest cost to us. Our money's probably making next to nothing, right? We're like everybody
Well, I
else.
understand that.
We're making 0.025%. I don't know that for a fact. But I know our municipal money, we can probably get money for 3% because we have such a high rate. So, we have to just balance out all those alternatives.
So that leads to my next question. When we do ban or bond, do we sort of bid it out to go with the lowest,
Yes.
the
Yes,
person
so
who thinks
market
it's the
is
lowest
Well, yeah, definitely.
interest rate? Okay. The parking deck,
Yes.
okay, there's kind of a 2-year,
Well, I'm looking at, hopefully within 18 months or 2 years, but within the next 3 to 6 months, we'll make a decision on it. You know, and what it's gonna come down to is we need to see what the revenue flow is gonna be from the meters.
okay.
Because the one thing I'm not gonna get into is getting in bonding a $6 million deck, and then all of a sudden have to hit the taxpayer for that, because it's not gonna happen.
So that, any revenue that we make on the meters will be going toward.
Yes. Yep.
Plus purchase of
Right.
property, if we want to add parking. All that is going to be paid by those meters.
That answers my question. And just by the way, I made a joke about let's keep those kids calm, but you know, I wasn't joking. I do not like to hear my grandchildren and their friends, and they're very clear, they're coming here to get drunk. Thank you.
Mark Siegel, but
Yeah.
your hand popped up at that point.
Mark Siegel from Blum. I just wanted to find out if it's still, you don't have to put money in the meters on Sunday, because
Yes.
I've been telling people that.
Sundays is,
Right. You don't have to get, they get
it says it on the
nervous.
signs.
Oh, it does?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, it does? Okay, good. I didn't know that.
Monday through Saturday.
Right.
Is it Big Kahuna still down in Florida?
No, he's here for today and tomorrow. He goes back Wednesday.
He goes back Wednesday.
Yes, you know, he's going, he's the accountant, guy goes over the account.
It's too cold.
He flew in today.
How's he
so-
feeling?
And flying out Wednesday.
How's he feeling?
Good, he's doing great.
Yeah, I was just-
Oh, yeah.
I don't get to see him.
Yeah, he's doing terrific.
Doc.
Pain in the ass.
You always just got it.
Good evening, everybody. Don Mossman, 60 Common Street. The CDA is funding some public art in the form of murals, which is a good thing.
You're vice president of the board now, right? Or vice chairman or whatever. that is.
Deputy,
Deputy?
but
So
the
you're
mural,
Jack.
I'm sorry,
Equal to Jack.
the mural on the Bravo store on the north side has been defaced with graffiti. And I heard it mentioned at the last meeting, some dollar value to repair it, which nobody was willing to fund. I'm wondering if maybe the CDA in concert with the village, we can do something with it.
How
They
much?
can't.
How much was it?
How much is it per
You
year?
remember, it was mentioned a couple of $1,000. And, I mean, something is scrolled across the whole width of it in black. And it's a real shame. Just food for thought. Is there maybe some way we can do it and do it better so that we can put a coating on it so it, the graffiti comes off? I was gonna bring it up at the next meeting. See
Yeah, have you talked to Marion about that? CDA funding for projects is a little bit tricky. It might be something that the CDA may not even be able to fund every day or something like that. You should talk to, CDA funding.
I saw it the other day, and it really annoyed me that, it's a shame. Because it's attractive and it helps the village.
You know,
Do me a favor, get me the amount that it's gonna cost. And let me, I'll make some phone calls, let me get some people doing this.
yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
There's some people we can twist out.
We can also, we can reach out through the Chamber of Commerce.
Actually, one of our members, Jim Daytree, has been on top of that for weeks, talking to both the Power Squadron, the Power Boating Society that put it up there, and the owners of Bravo, trying to work something out. He's even brought in the original artists to it, and that's where I believe the cost came from. It's
What
the
was the
original
cost?
artist, and I think it was like, with the figure tape. I'm gonna get Jim Daytree to get in touch with you, Don, because he did a lot of legwork on that. He's been working actually with Bravo and the boating people to try to get that fixed. From what I understand, it is a negative slang in Spanish, in Spanish that's on there. And he took umbrage to that a few weeks ago and has been trying to get that repaired.
Well,
So,
let's do it sooner than later.
right, no, Bravo, I mean, I think was maybe willing to put up some of the money. I know he's been talking to Jose, and that was been going on. I haven't talked to him about a week about it, but I know he was trying to get that fixed.
I'll call Jim
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
John, probably $20,000 was raised for benches, and signs and stuff like that. It's just by reaching out through the chamber, okay, with a specific, I mean, I think that's something that, while it's open, if you ask, I think I don't know how much it is, but I'll bet you we can get the money to fix it.
Okay, great. Let's keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, the 5 benches are up at DPW waiting to be installed. As soon as the weather, as soon as it stops snowing,
Couple of shade structures.
July.
Couple of shade structures.
Some signs too, John?
Trying to bottle.
Can I go
I
there?
have a pothole on this street. I should go to potholes.com.
Benches,
Anyone else? Any other comments by the board? Motion to adjourn? Motion. Second.